Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back into the Dragon's Den. I am a pro streamer. That's why I can't figure out how to unmute myself when I start the stream. Uh, so, yeah, I am a 3D printing variety streamer here on Twitch. Means we do everything from unboxings like the Bamboo Lab X1Cs, A1C here from Creality, to full up printer builds like the Vorons, Black Box, the LH Stinger right behind us. We do a lot of mods. We've also taken part in a lot of prototyping. And we're going to do, I know it's going to be a surprise, another box turtle build here on the stream. I was part of that closed beta, so I did a lot of box turtles beforehand. And basically what I'm doing now is I'm taking an older one that I did under the beta, and I'm tearing it down and reusing those parts to build uh, current spec box turtle that I'm going to provide to another streamer. So welcome on in, everybody. Mr. Wizix, welcome in. Rob Quartermaster or Quarter, no, Bob C. Quantum Assembler. There we go. Welcome on in. I hope you got your stuttering squared away because I'm seeing no drop frames on my end. Hey, Lucas Player, welcome in. Back. Um, Iconic Fab, how's it going? Welcome in. Hey, Thunder Keys. Hope you're doing well. I'm feeling better. I still have like a dry hacking cough. Coffee doesn't necessarily help. Something about the acid in coffee and sore back of your throat, but what the hell? Mrs. Dragon's on her way out and she's actually bringing back some tea. This will be not a very long stream. We're not going to get through this today. I just did not want to get started on the V Core because I'm using my bench for other things today as well. So after stream, I've got to do a Discord call with somebody that I'm actually helping get through the software setup for a rat rig V Core. They were very frustrated. They were about to sell their project, which is 400 V Core 4 IDEX, and we figured out what some of the problems were, and we've got RadOS installed and everything updated. Now we've got to go through and do the board flashings, and then they can continue and wire everything up. And yeah, so I've been trying to help somebody along so that they can realize the finish of a rat rig. So I do need the bench for a little bit. You'll notice here on the bench we have an eclectic selection of stuff. Like here's the MMB that we just took off. A smattering of parts, both new and old. And then you're like, well, why is there an octopus here? With some of the other stuff, there's a CB1, an octopus, an EBB board, a bunch of other stuff here. That's because I'm helping an individual get his rat rig up and running. And once I get that done, which, by the way, will give me the ability to flash my other EBB board that'll need to be flashed. We'll be starting this soon enough. The other reason is I need to kind of get done relatively early today. As some of you may know, if you saw on X, I'm doing some respiratory rehab, which is called I was sick. Now I'm feeling better. I'm no longer testing positive for COVID. And we got the call from the guy that we've been trying to get mulch from all winter long. And we had 10 cubic yards of mulch delivered to the driveway, which now has to get distributed to all of the flower beds. And while I'm trying to distribute to the flower beds, Mrs. Dragon is out there taking her cluster of daylily bulbs, digging them up, splitting them up, and spreading them around. So, yeah, mulch fun. Exactly, Big Jano. So I'm literally filling up 2 Homer buckets at a time and then going out and distributing it around the flowers so then I can spread it out by hand around the flowers and all the flower beds. Fun. Now it's a lot. I will tell you this: the mulch is a lot better than the like 10 plus cubic yards of rock, like rock that we had delivered in Colorado Springs because we had this big drainage trench that went down through our yards, actually through the whole neighborhood, and we had to go through and redo or add more rock and stuff in. That sucked even worse. That's a lot heavier. But anyhow, we're gonna get going because, like I said, I've got a little bit of time today, a couple hours to work on this, and then we'll switch over and go to. That was not the one that I. Oh, I'm like I'm confusing myself. One, this just get that up there. Cameras. I would do the overhead, but we know that this one is freezing again for some reason. So to prevent me from chucking it, we'll not use the overhead camera. So I will tell you that I did go through and put in all of the heat sets required for this step off channel, and I put the ECAS fittings together and got them installed. So just trying to make things go a little bit faster, and I was trying to stay moving. So next up would be to do the switches. We need to ensure that the switches are wired before the installation, refer to the wiring guide. So here's where the fun part's going to be. Um, so I'm going to take apart the old motors. I've got an option. I can desolder the old wires and resolder them, or we can just make new wires. But I'm going to need all the insides out of here anyhow. So I guess the question to everybody right now is, because I need to swap over to the newer style um, uh, switches, should I just wire them up new? Do wire and crimp? Yep, I'm going to upgrade to the new switches. Got them from KB3D. So they are the right style, and I did not go through like an AliExpress to get these. These are genuine Omrons through KB3D. Yeah, it was nice that KB3D stocked them because I could not find them anywhere on Amazon. And if I did see something on Amazon, I did not trust the listing. So I guess since I've got new switches here, I might as well just print or not cut some new wire and do new wires for it. By the way, I realized this when I hit the Armored Turtle page today. We now have the Film Atrix. Center Keys, you were the one that did this update, correct? For the Film Matrix stuff. We got the turtleneck and the turtleneck 2 information here. So we'll have to build a turtleneck. You are the one to blame for that? Well, good. At least now we know who to blame. Wire length bomb. Where? Yeah, I'm gonna have to look for that over in the actual GitHub, right? Armored turtle, box turtle. Please tell me we've got wire length, shooter steppers, indicators, N20, trigger, these guys. Okay, that'll be what we need. Let me go over here and grab some wire. Oh, yeah, I've already done 1 day of moving mulch. We did that on the first day. Made a lot of good progress. And oofda, did it, am I feeling it today? Okay. And of course, well, all right, give me 1 second. I need to see if I've got some uh, smaller set of linear wire, and if not, because that was the one color I couldn't get any of before was black. So this particular build, yeah, this particular build, I was going to go with orange. Maybe I do red. Got plenty of orange. Because it's a red and black build. Yeah, we'll do red. Red will go better than orange. Because I just don't have any black. Or I'm not going to have enough black. Okay. Get our stick of measuring out here. And we need, and I don't have 26. 200 millimeters. Get these handy. And once again, the nice thing with end stop wires, doesn't matter if they're the same color, because if they're in the wrong order, you can just add or subtract an exclamation point, and you change the direction in which they work. So the 200, 310, 410. $200, 310, 410, and then 465. Hey, Hutch Makerspace, how's it going? Wilk Allen, welcome in. Yeah, Mauser's a good one to go to. I try and go to like DigiKey and Mauser for things. However, I find their shipping is a bit more expensive, and sometimes it does take a little bit for me to get it from them. If I go through KB3D, I tend to get it a lot quicker. So I try and go to KB3D also, because they're a small business and they're a channel sponsor. KB3D. We always see that. So if we can get it at KB3D, we'll go there. If not, we'll go to West 3D or Brico. And then if we can't find it, then we'll go to like DigiKey, Mauser, that type of thing. It's 465. So, and then wire-wise, I know you can go to Remington. I don't know if it's like Remington wire or something, but I know that there's a brand called Remington where you can get wire. I've also gone to Tube Depot for FEP wiring. Interestingly enough, Tube Depot is a guitar shop and they do sell like vacuum tubes and stuff like that. That's why they're Tube Depot. But they also sell, like I said, FEP wiring and stuff like that. So, good place to get some wiring as well, from what I've found. Have this. And is my, no, my solder. Solder iron. Yeah, my soldering iron's up here, but my little thing. Give me 1 second. I gotta get my tip cleaning thing. And I'm back. Here, a box of extras. And don't worry, these older parts may get rebuilt like that, or they may get tossed and I'll just build yet another one. But I do have lots of other parts that I can use to build these. Um, Need to spend some time today working on actually getting your new M5P. Yes, and I actually need to look at that stuff that you sent me and see if I can help you decipher. Um, I will say that there is a, it may be beneficial to get rid of some of those different breakout boards, especially when you're going into the M5P. Because some of the stuff that they're using those breakout boards for, you can just direct wire. Um, so just like normal, we're going to go to um, the two outer pins on here. Now these have the, um, I'll say the pins with the holes in them, so you can basically crimp your wire over and get a good solder joint there. You just may have to strip more than you're used to do that. And then once you get that done, you'll be able to put on some heat shrink tubing down the whole length. I never told you how much I adore stripping FEP wire too. I mean, FEP wire is great, don't get me wrong, but stripping FEP wire sometimes can be a real joy because it tends to, the FEP tends to stretch rather than cut out. Morning, Hutch Makerspace. Adam, welcome on in. 83D Chris is a shipping wizard. Yes. 350 panels for your V2 on Wednesday morning, and they ship by Wednesday afternoon. Now, every once in a while, you'll get a shipping notice, but that's just that the label's been created. That doesn't necessarily mean that it left and went on a truck. But if you've ordered in the morning, chances are it got on the truck that afternoon. And they're using UPS for most of their stuff, UPS ground. So it does get here in 2 to 3 days normally for me, which makes me a happy man. So yeah. Hey, Eagle the Dragon. Good morning, my friend. Welcome, welcome. CB1 initial setup was a bit of a pain. Oh, I bet. CB1s can be a bit of a pain. I haven't got a CB2, so I haven't tried one of those out yet. Just recently, I was trying to run a CB1 on the Big Tree Tech Pi sled, the Pi 4 sled, and apparently it doesn't actually work with a CB. Actually, you have to run a Raspberry Pi on it. So mine's currently got a CM4 sitting. Or at least it did not appear to like the CB1 that I had plugged in. All right, those two are connected. We'll put that in there to hold it down. Wires as straight as possible. And we will get these all tinned up. And then we'll put some heat shrink on them as well. Just do these one at a time because it'll be easier to do them that way. Hey, Zombie, how's it going? Any ideas what we're working on today? I mean, it may be familiar. Another side reason to do this is this gets the box turtle off of the V core. So one less thing we got to move around later when we go to work on the V core upgrade. Okay. Hardwire your CB1 to get the Wi-Fi hooked. You should be able to do Wi-Fi on the CB1. You would kind of do standard stuff. So you would get the image on the CB1, and then you would go in and configure your wireless either in your Windows machine. And when I say that, I mean you're actually updating the config file in the or on the SD card before putting it in the CB1. Yeah, left hand. Downside of wiring stuff. Because we had put the wires on it ahead of time. So now it was just a matter of Normally I would do the left side first and then come in and tack the right side, but the way I put the wires on there made it a little bit more difficult to do it that way. Put a little bit of heat shrink tubing on there and shrink that down, and we'll go on to the next. The Wi-Fi is 5 gigahertz. Correct. It does. CB1s do only work at 2.4 gigahertz. So, do you not have a tri-band wireless router? Good morning, Mr. Dragon. The other thing is on the CB1, you must install that external antenna. I've been able to get it to see and join a network, but I've never been able to SSH into one without the external antenna installed. Okay, there's one. Get the next one set up and do that. We'll go through and try and do that one side at a time so that we're a little bit easier to get done. Might be easier to turn on it. Yeah. Um, so it might also be advantageous to have a dedicated 2.4 network, right? So all your 2.4 stuff is on one router going into your um uh ISP's machine or box, and have a second router that just pushes the 5G. And if you set them up in the same subnet, but say you put the first 100 addresses, so 192 dot 192.168 0.1, right? As the gateway, you only need to use one of them as a gateway, but you set it up to provide 2.4 gigahertz only and DHCP through the first 100 IP addresses. Then you set up a separate 5 gigahertz, and that only gives like the top end of the IP range. That way, if they're all in the same network segment, they should still be able to talk IP wise, but you don't have a lot of chatter and noise and bandwidth going on. Like that's one of the things that I'm having an issue with right now is my Wi-Fi range and bands and my router itself is overloaded because I've got way too many things on the 2.4 side and it's hampering my 5G because of the bandwidth allocation. I've just got too many devices called 3D printers. Okay, 2 down. Yeah, internal network congestion can be an issue. Um, Especially if you're in like an apartment. Like I'm in a neighborhood that has lots that are like 3/4 of an acre. So we're not right on top of each other, but even I've been wondering like, do I need to get like a cell phone booster as well? Because I've been having some issues with cell signal inside the house. Yeah, I was gonna say I thought you did a lot of ESP32 and those are 2.4 only as well. And see that's the issue is you're you're allocating bandwidth between your devices and the more devices you have talking on the network, it's kind of like the it consumes the bandwidth and the resources on the router. So that's the other thing is how many devices can your router support reliably? When you start talking about a bunch of 3D printers and like I said, ESP32 devices, smart home stuff, you wind up having way too many things on the wireless and it just gets congested within your network. And depending on the type of router you got, it may only have certain number of streams and stuff that it can even deal with before it basically starts hampering the speeds of every device as it's trying to traffic share. So that's why I meant to do it. I got to talk to Evil Diesel and um, have him when we go to breakfast tomorrow morning, because, well, it's Sunday. When we go to breakfast, I'm going to get the Cat 5 from him so I can run 2 new wires from the living room, which is where the new fiber modem is, upstairs here. And that way I can, what I'm going to do is basically come out of the, I'll bring one line upstairs out of the modem to a switch right up here, which will let me take the 2 wires that I pulled from the master bedroom back down to the master bedroom. And then it'll loop around the office into the switch I have over at the desk there that also goes to the streaming machine. And that will free up some things because that'll let us put like the Apple TV in the master bedroom back on wired versus wireless and provide another jack in there for something. And then everything up here to include my streaming rig will go wired. And that gives me the ability to also, because I do have a 16 port switch and my plan was to install it underneath the work tables behind me and run as many printers as I can hardwired versus wireless. And that would be another way of getting some semi-chatty devices off the network. What we're doing, Zombie, is this is your build if you're still hanging around. So what I'm doing is wiring up the new switches that'll be for the extruders and the hub. And that way we can take apart the old extruders, rebuild the new extruders with the same innards except for the different uh, in-stock trigger switches. Well, and that's where I'm going to have. So I got a 16 port switch and I can basically put 2 up, 2 down. So I'll have power drop and a network drop basically at each station. So if I move a printer, then I have power for the next printer that I put there. And if I've got the ability to hardwire it, I can hardwire it. Just unplug the old one, plug the new one in. Right? So you have one physical wall plug per printer in your new setup and you're still out of slots. Well, just take one of those wall plugs into a desktop switch and boom, now you've got more cable drops. And that's basically what I'm going to do is use a 5-port switch at the wall over there in the back corner and then go up and run one link to the 16-port switch that will feed as many printers as I can. And then, because we know the X1Cs don't have physical network jacks. And then the one of those lines will continue to come around and go into the desk here for hardwiring of my work and stuff like that. My work laptop, my personal laptop, and the streaming rig. Oh, physical power that is. Gotcha. 10 gig link back to, yeah. And see, that's the thing is right now I'm on 400 meg fiber and I can jump up, but it's more when I jump up and I don't really need as much right now. I need to get my, decongest my network some. And then once I've done that, then I will reevaluate. And if I need the additional bandwidth, then I can always, it's just a phone call. Phone call and they change service in the background, right? I think it's 400, 600, and then a gig. And of course, every jump, the price almost doubles. And of course, once again, they're the only game in town for fiber right for where I'm at. So it's kind of a take it or leave it. And I am on a business plan, which gives me a little bit more priority. So when I call, they actually send somebody out if they need to, or I get somebody on the phone and they work it where I don't have to dilly dally. And I've got an account representative. So, worst case scenario, if I am down and out and hurting, I can give them a call and they will get tech support out in a heartbeat.
Hmm.
All right. Yeah. So I had symmetrical gigabit from Tang. I think it was like $100 a month for the first year. All right, sounds good, zombie. Take it easy. And then it um God, words on stream. I don't know. I don't know what I was saying. But yeah, I get it. I love the fiber because it's either up or it's down. And I have had some issues with it being down lately. Um, and I know it's network stuff on their end because if they cut a cable, um, everybody's going to be down, right? Um, and you're going to see a truck out here. Normally, the two times where I've lost internet, there's been no truck around, which tells me that it's an actual network issue on their side of the configuration line. So, and it also helps being a network guy because they come out and they're like, "Oh well, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a network guy, so I'm going to call bullshit. I've already done a trace route. I've done this. I've done that." And then you really confuse them because the tier one people don't expect that. So now they're going directly to tier two or tier three to not look like an idiot. So, okay, so we're going to just put that stuff off to the side. We got one more switch that we'll need to do, which will be the hub. I'm being lazy right now and not going to go and measure that out, though I may do that either right after stream or a little bit later. I just want to get the um, thingamabobbers done here. And we're also going to crimp these ends. Um, can we get the crimped? Oh yeah, we can get crimped ends through here. So we probably want to crimp these ends and get them installed. And this is going on an AFC light. Does it do? So left two pairs. Let me grab an AFC light board. This box or the other box? Because this is probably the turtleneck 2. Yep, turtleneck 2. The other box. No worries. We are prepared. Well, I was prepared it would all be out, but we are prepared because we do have the turtleneck 2 here. and we'll be double checking to see where our positive, or excuse me, our signal and ground go. Ground's normally going to be in the middle, and the ends are on the left side. As okay, and we've got all of our JSTs here. I'm back on that because we were talking about printer. Okay, so nice thing about the ISIC stuff is it comes with all of the connectors that you're going to need as well. These are 3-pin connectors, so we'll need 4 of those. What I'm going to do is go ahead and get these crimped and pinned out. That way when we go to install them, they're already pinned out in the right order, so we don't have to worry about that part. And remember that your connection by the plunger side is always in essence your common or your ground. So that's the side that you're always going to want to go into the ground cable or the ground connection. And then the other side, whether you selected normally open or normally closed, would go into the whichever pin is the actual like identified pin. So, you know, PB6, PD8, whatever. Crimpers here. But when they try a Technobabble, yeah. Well, and it's funny too when you're like, okay, I'm an Air Force Comtech. Um, this is what's going on. And they're like, okay, sir, thank you for that. And then they try and go through the same, but did you try and, reboot your router? Yes, I have rebooted the router. I have rebooted my router. I have done this. I've done this test. I've done that test. Okay, sir, well, we're going to have to try and run through the, and I'm like, God, give me tier 2. Love of God, I know I've been on the help desk many, many years. Give me tier 2. Um, and the ground pin's going to go in the middle. Then your signal pin, which in this case is our normally closed. Goes in the one that will be on the left side or the switch side of the um, board. That one's Hey, Nick, how's it going? Welcome on in. Hope you're doing well today. We are just working on wiring. We decided that we were going to, rather than reuse, try and desolder and resolder and all that on the old switches, which were standard style end stop switches. Um, since we're updating this to the latest spec of the LDO box turtle kits, I did go ahead and get the appropriate switches, which are the D2HW-C201s. And we're cutting the wire to the appropriate length for the bomb here and getting them ready. We're basically going to disassemble the old extruders, assemble the new extruders using the new end stops. And we're using all red wire for this because, well, the theme of this particular build is black and red. And normally I would just use all black, but unfortunately I don't have much black 24 gauge cable. And I'm not going to sit here and try and go through and scavenge a bunch of cable to get a bunch of correct sized cables. So I'm just going through, and we're going to use red here because it is a red and black theme. Red will work. And by the way, if it just popped up there, but if somebody does a bang merch, there is a newly published merch site. I have ordered a couple of the shirts. I would ask, I mean, if you want to, go ahead, but I would ask that you hold off on getting a shirt until I get them in and can check them out. But the cups and water bottles and stuff, I'm pretty sure those will be good. One thing that they rarely screw up on. But the shirts, they had like, Fourth Wall has like 20 different styles of shirt. So I would much rather get one in and see if I like the way that the the feel and the fit is. And if I don't like it, then I'll try a different style so that you guys aren't buying a shirt and then going, oh, this fits and feels like dog poo. There are a couple of coffee mugs or a coffee mug. There's two coffee mugs out there that had the old logo on them. That logo still exists. That is Digital Dragon. I am Digital Dragon. And then the new merch is Digital Dragon 3D, which is the company. trying to slowly get stuff set up now. I did bring over the files this morning to the streaming computer, so I will be starting to cut over to the new uh, Twitch stream layouts and stuff that Daisy provided me. But yeah, if you guys need any artwork for any of your socials or streaming, I would highly recommend Daisy based on the work that she's done for many others. She was referred to me by Hez Liz, and I was hearing that I think like Jamie and Keela are going to get some stuff done by her as well off of a recommendation by Pez Liz. So I am going to be adding my 2 cents in there because I really like the work that she did for me. So if you're interested, reach out to Daisy. Daisy Arts 01 or Daisy Arts 02. Hey, Absac, how's it going? Doing well. Techno Slide. Hey, hey. I really need to get a moderator so that I can get some shout outs done. Either that or maybe do a Nero and they'll set up a AI chatbot that'll take voice commands and do shout outs for me. The printer looks awesome. Which one? The VCore 4 right over here? This will be the one we'll be working on next. So the box turtle I'm taking apart used to sit on top of there. Wasn't connected to the V44, but it was sitting on top of there. So I'm trying to get that stuff cleaned off. I've got the stuff on the floor cleaned off for the most part so that we can, what we're gonna have to do is pull the black box out and just roll it over here off screen this way. And then we'll be able to take the top and the front panel off the rat rig, which is, they're just on there with magnets. We'll be able to pull the gantry forward and we should be able to work on there without having to take any of the other panels off, I'm hoping. And that'll make hopefully life a little bit easier. And we'll be able to do the IDEX upgrade on that without too much problems, I'm hoping. Until I get the wiring routed to the back, and then I'll have to pull it forward to be able to get the into the wiring control box in the back. That would be a different. All right, those are done. These slivers of plastic out of the way. And now we're going to basically take one apart, put one together. Take one apart, put one together. Box turret. Start with one of our, let me see, will my overhead number play well today? Free. That'll help some. So we've got the black part here. We need to install the whatchamacallit, the limit switch in here. So to do that, we've got to put a bearing in there. This is one of those tiny 3mm bearings that we've used in other places on the printer. I'm going to grab one of these, and it's going to get dropped down into that slot right there. So slot that down in there like that. Make sure that it's in the slot and goes all the way down. Did. So it's like that. Whoop. So the bearing's going kind of front to back here, and then the end stop, we're going to feed the wire through. And the end stop part with the plunger is the side that's facing down. So we'll flip this over and kind of line it up and push it down in the slot. Work our wires through. And it does have to push down in there a decent amount, so if you need to, use something, just push a little bit on the back of the case to make sure it's fully seated down in there, like that. Like I said, just kind of pull your wires through as much as possible. Probably have to bend the pins back some. Because you'll want it to be flush here when you put your other piece on. Yep, there we go. So that piece is done. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of do like I do all the time. And we're going to do all four. We'll get these installed for all four. It can be kind of a pain in the tushy just getting it at the right angle. Once you get in there, you feel it pop in with a little bit of authority. That's in there. The big thing is making sure that you don't drop the bearing back out while you're trying to wiggle this around in there. Kind of need to have the bearing in there. That one's done, and then one last one. Okay, so we got all four of those done up. Now we'll need to basically take this apart, and we should have all of the other parts we're going to need ready to go here. Hey, Curious Asparagus, how's it going? How powerful? Well, I mean, these are standard extruders. These are standard dual gear extruders. This is basically we're building a box turtle. So this is a open source AMS, for lack of a better term. What we're doing is we're taking apart an older spec version, and we're going to reuse these parts to most of the parts to basically we're taking an old one and upgrading it to the latest spec parts as far as printed parts go, and the so printed parts and some of the electronics will be updated as well. So that's kind of what we're working on right here. And this part, since we're basically having to take one apart, I'm just going to take this fully apart one at a time now from this point. Otherwise, we get too many loose things on the table. There's our motor. Take this chassis apart. And the nice thing is all of this is M3x8 socket head cap screws. So I'm just going to be creating a pile over here and reusing it when we're putting the other parts together. In fact, we'll wind up with more screws at the end because they reduce the overall BOM in here. I am doing much better. I still have a bit of a dry cough, but that's just part of the leftovers of COVID. Drinking coffee doesn't help, but Mrs. Dragon did get me some tea that's been sitting over there, so probably switch between the two. And the printer that you were seeing back here, so this is a Rat Rig VCore 4 300 size, so it's a full 300 cube build volume. That printer has been fantastic. I've been really, really impressed with it. And we're going to be here's that. We're going to be doing an IDEX upgrade in this, which is basically going to give it 2 tool heads so we can run 2 different colors or 2 different filament types at the same time. And that will be a pretty cool little upgrade there. And now the question is, can I get this bearing to pop out? Because we place the I think I have pairs of these if I can't wiggle this out. Gotta be careful that I don't damage the race on this regardless. There it is. Here we go. So the rest of this, I do have the CNC Kitchen heat set puller. So I'm going to set this aside and I will recover all of the heat sets that I can out of these. You can pry the ECAS fittings back out, so I'll do that. And then we'll pull the end stops and we'll just hold on to the end stops for any future project that we do. But we will recover all of the heat press inserts and stuff from this, from the older parts. Come on. There we go. So we're just going to take these parts, set them aside, and like I said, we'll get into recovery mode a little bit later. So we're going to grab our first one here. We need to get our bearing down here in the middle. Whoops. Back over to this view. We get our bearing down there in the middle, and we need to get it pressed down in there. And the easiest thing that I have found is an M5 socket head. It is the correct size so that you're pressing on the bearing races or the outer edges of the bearing. You just press it right down in there, and now that bearing is pressed in and flush. And once again, you can just take the head of your bolt, go down in there, and push it fully down in there and flush. So I think that's like a M5 by 16. So we know this is already set from the previous one. So we should just be able to drop that in there. Just like that. We're going to take this bearing, put it there. Line everything up. Bada bing, bada boom. And we'll put the screws back in. Actually, these are the screws off the motors. Yep, those are all the same size. Yep, pretty much where we're at. Hey, Los Inc., how's it going? Hey, Cruising Girl, welcome in. Welcome in. So once again, we're basically taking apart the old extruders and swapping the parts over into the new extruder. Do the filament test. We know we're going to be lined up. I don't need to do that. We've already put the ECAS fittings in. We need to transfer our idler bearing. Pop that out without losing anything. Make sure we get this in the correct direction. Push it down in there. Everything still works well. Lay right down in there. We'll take the same M330 button head cap screw. There we go. All right, that's working. Thread the tensioner through the guider into the spring until it is fully okay. Oh, that's what the so we do want an M3 by 8 up here. This goes into the recessed heat set insert, and this is the anti-squish basically. That gets screwed all the way down. Now you'll put in your tension spring. I may have to seat this seat set insert down a bit because it is keeping this held up some. I'm gonna have to do that real fast. This one. I'm gonna do it now because if I don't, I will forget. I know myself. This part I will forget. Oh, thank you, Losink. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. Um, it was it was a bit rough there. There was a little bit of rough days there. Lots of sleeping, lots of just sheer exhaustion. But I'm feeling better, and Mrs. Dragon was like, "Awesome, you're feeling better. That's great." We got a call from the guy that we've been trying to get mulch from all winter long, and he said, "Hey, I've got that mulch." So we had 10 cubic yards of mulch delivered on Thursday. So we actually started moving mulch that day, and my hands are still yelling at me for it. But it is what it is. You're building a BT for zombie? Yes, I am rebuilding this BT for zombie. He wants to swap out for LDO motors. He's more than welcome to. These are using the same motors that I've been using in, well, 4 of them, which are the AliExpress specials. So what I do is I tighten that all the way up, and then I undo it one full turn, and that's a good starting point, and then you can work from there. We need to get the motor back on here, and the wires need to be going up. So and of course, I probably should have spun that beforehand. Can I spin it? Add the motor before you close. It'll be easier to make sure that the motor is meshed instead of just pressing gear to gear. Thank you, Eagle. So Eagle kind of let the cat out of the bag. So Monday is my birthday. Um, I do not have a birthday stream planned yet. What am I looking for? Because I'm waiting on a few things to come in that I want to show off. So we'll do a birthday stream probably next Saturday, a belated birthday stream. But yeah. Now these motor wires may be a little bit long because they were done in a different way. Well, when I say done in a different way, I mean um, they were made to kind of go up and under. They're going to mount a little bit differently this time. Don't worry about that. We'll adjust as we adjust. Bing, bada boom, da boo. Oh, going to bring the wires up, up and down like that. And then we'll deal with routing it around or what have you when the time comes. So there's one extruder motor done. Grab number 2. And number 2 here, 2 here. We'll take this one apart. And I'm doing the thing that I'm normally afraid to do, which is leave that on. And I'm afraid to do it because I'm going to burn myself. I know I am. Hey, MG Longshot, thank you for the subscribe. Welcome in, my friend. We're back to building a turtle. Hey, Creatix Brit, welcome in. And this is going to go over to Hedgehog Makes. We can still force them to build a turtle, don't worry. We'll still force them to. I'm just trying to help him out, keep him moving along. I know how it is, and I'm still waiting on some new stuff to come in as well. So we'll be doing the, while we're waiting for the Anycubic Cobra S1 with Ace package to come in, we're going to get this built. We're going to get this out and on its way to Zombie, and then we'll do the rat rig. And hopefully shortly thereafter, we'll be able to, who can do it? Come off. We'll have the ace in, and we can work on the ace, or the Cobra S1 for a little bit. So, yeah, I hope everybody's doing good. Like I said, I've been trying to get in that respiratory rehab. By respiratory rehab, I mean moving lots and lots of mulch in an attempt to get stuff ready for spring, make Mrs. Dragon happy, which means, you know, I get to be happy, so on and so forth. That out here and try and work this bearing out. We'll take this stuff and set it aside. 2. again, we're going to take our bearing, kind of drop it down there, grab our M5x16 nut, and we'll use that to press it all the way down in the cavity, like so. Take our pulley assembly, set it in place. Visually make sure that it still lines up with our channel, which it does. Surprise, surprise. Put our back plate on. Well, not just yet. We got to put the other bearing. Uh-oh. What happened with the other bearing? Oh no! We knocked the other bearing on the floor. Uh-oh. See, I done lost my bearing again. Closing that up, that's a guarantee I'm going to mess something up and have to open that up again. Uh-oh. Yep, we sure did. We must have dropped it on the floor because I am not seeing it anywhere else. Good gracious. Look, quick search. Not seeing it. Still not seeing it. So, oh wow. Not sure where it went, but got extras. They're like gold. At least to me they are. And actually, did we even pop it out of the old one? No, hey, there's the bearing. It's still in the old one. Found it. Found it. Popped it out. Now it probably is on the floor because I didn't. There we go. We got a spare there in case we pop it off again or lose one. Lined up. Bring our screws back in. So how are you doing today, Miss Britt? Hopefully you're doing well. We also got to work on a droid build. Get that done. Internet just reset. Uh-oh. Three on the back side, one to go, and here is our anti-squish nut or bolt. This lets you fine tune your squish. So if you're too squished, rather than unscrewing this, you can reach through the top and roll this out, which is going to press your lid up some. That's really what this is there for. We need to pop this out and transfer it over into one of these. Same direction. Make sure it's pressed down in there and everything's working well. These were greased with EP2 way back when, so So good. You want to make sure that this is snug, but not so much that your lever doesn't work. We'll put our motor on first. I'm doing good. Survived COVID for the most part. Um, Still working on getting my full stamina back. But other than that, doing good. Um, here, come in. Happy wife, happy life. So true. All right, so we do that one turn. We're going to come in here and get our zip tie on here. It's one of those initial statements I made from one of my first builds and was like, it'd be great if we had some strain relief here. By the end of that stream, I was told there were new parts. I was like, really? Like, you let me go ahead and finish building out all of these, and then you're like, oh yeah, I great suggestion. I've already incorporated those parts in. I tease, but that's actually really, really good because, um, some people just, they're like, okay, great. They'll add it to the list and they'll get to it like months later. And that's not a bad thing. That's just, called life. But yeah, Armored Turtle does listen to the feedback. And when we were doing these builds, and I say we because me, Thunder Keys, Raven, MG Longshot, we were doing these builds, and it was just the hardware was iterating so much. Um, like you build a tray and it's like, oh well, we made this modification. It's like, oh great, I just printed all my trays. And trays aren't like a 5-minute print. And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. You'll be fine, using the old trays. We just added this or that. So unless you really need that particular thing, and a lot of it was, you know, nice to have convenient stuff, but some of it was really for alignment and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, well, I'll be rebuilding that one again. But he was very good with listening to the feedback and constantly made changes. So definitely an awesome, fun time. Yeah, there was a lot of reprinting going on, but that would be why I've got, 6 box turtles. I actually need to get into the Discord and be a little more active in the Discord. I've just been so tied up with a bunch of other things lately. Some of you may have heard me say that, surprise, my company just did another reorg, and we've now got the seventh different VP that we've been reporting into in 4 years. Hey, MakerMind Nexus, how are you doing, Dan? It's been a while. I mean, I've checked out your streams, but it's been a while since you've been on here, my friend. Welcome in. So what we're doing, Dan, is taking apart the green and blue. This is uh, metallic green and metallic blue, or yeah, metallic green, metallic blue ASA or ABS from Polymaker. And we are going to be, we're just rebuilding them into the latest spec. There's nothing wrong with these parts. They work just fine, but I'm just rebuilding it into the latest spec and shipping this off to Zombie. I just haven't told them how much it's going to cost them for me to actually ship it yet. Ooh. Hey, we're going to have to actually set that one. That one's a tad bit loose. It should not be loose like that. Bring out. So, and like I said, these old parts, like I said, there's nothing wrong with them. I can rebuild it and still use it. Or I can recover all the heat sets and stuff out of them and do another upgrade, upgrade a different one. Because what I did is I'm taking this one apart, but I had a spare frame cut, so I've already got I built the zombie frame here using that spare one. Right? So this part's all done, ready to go, ready to rock and roll. That's why we're taking the extruders off. We'll mount the extruders and then we'll do the respoolers and stuff like that. Probably one of those things where I'm sitting there going, why is this so like inconsistent and crappy? Oh, because we didn't lock down the tighten down the rub screw. E? Okay, so that piece is in, this piece goes on. A lot easier when you're just basically swapping parts from A to B. Goes a little bit smoother. Ah! They start dropping screws, that is. Oh. You're in need of some house cleaning. Have you paid attention to my streams? I mean, remember, I did fall over the Pelican case for the positron and break my foot. So and also you're in need of house cleaning. I'm in need of house cleaning. That's part of the reason why we're doing this right now. Is it gets rid of the box turtle that was sitting on top of the V core. So I need to move a couple of more things on the V core, and then I'll be able to get in there next week, and we can start working on the IDEX upgrade. After stream today, I've promised a gentleman that I am going to give him a call on Discord and help him finalize the software for his vCore. He's got a vCore 4 400 IDEX build that he was stuck on because he could not get RadOS installed. And lo and behold, come to find out, he got bit by the Raspberry Pi. And you, how do you get bit by Raspberry Pi? Well, Raspberry Pis, especially a Raspberry Pi 4, requires a 2.5 amp power supply. You're not providing it a consistent 2.5 amps, it's not going to get on your network. In fact, the way RadOS is set up is it sets up a captive portal, right? And you have to join the RadOS network. And then once you're on the RadOS network, you basically give it your information for your network, and that's how you join your RadOS to your network. Well, if you're not running a reliable power supply to your Raspberry Pi, you're not going to get the captive portal come up because it's not going to light the Wi-Fi. So he was using a random phone charger to power it, which obviously was not giving it the 2.5 amps. And so as soon as we plugged it into a different charging port, in fact, it was directly connected to his whatchamacallit, third strip. What we did. He was able to get RadOS network visible, and so we got that far. And what we're going to do is do the rest of the board flashing via a Discord call. Yeah, just one of those assistant services that I perform. Hey, Dude Flunky, how's it going? Exactly what I'm doing, watching my Office. Gotcha. So, hey, Nura, how's it going? House cleaning. I'm renovating the entire house. I have mountains everywhere and small tables. Yep. Seating set up so I can work right now. There you go. Yep. We've got so many things that we've been wanting to get done, and Mrs. Dragon did a lot of trips last year, and so we've got to get the yard back in shape. You know, the yard that I let go a lot last year because of Mrs. Dragon being gone and then me working. So we're trying to get all that stuff squared away, and then, you know, launch the new business, stuff like that. There's third one. One more to go. We also have to start getting ready for show season and all that good stuff. So. Yeah, I know a lot of people have issues with the Raspberry Pis, but remember what the Raspberry Pi was built for, right? A cheap $35 computer that you can use to teach electronics to kids, right? And that is still its primary use today. There are more capable boards out there, Jetson Nanos, stuff like that. There are different SBCs out there. There are a lot of SBCs that came out with different chips on them when the Raspberry Pi shortage happened during COVID. So I've got a butt ton of CB1 boards. I have several um, uh, Libre computer boards. Thank you, Dan. And stuff like that. So, you know, I have options. I have the Big Tree Tech boards. Um, and in fact, that's what we've got in the Inner XY right now is, well, it's a CM4 on a Big Tree Tech Pi 4 sled. But I do also have the um, Big Tree Tech Pi and stuff like that. So, yeah. Actually, I didn't put the CM4 with a sled on it. That's up there. It is the Big Tree Tech Pi in that Inner XY. Your next project's your backyard. Yeah. We've got, like I said, we got 10 cubic yards of mulch delivered, and we we're trying to do the front flower beds first because that's what's going to that's where all our daylilies and stuff are. And then once we get those done, I need to go and clean up. And I almost have to like bush hog the weeds out of the front hillside mulch area. I'm not gonna bush hog. But I literally I've tried pulling them, and even though they're completely dead from the winter, I can't get them out of the soil. I'm gonna have to dig them out with a shovel. They're rooted so bad. Um, get all that stuff pulled out and redo the mulch there. And I think what I'll do at that point is I know my neighbor kind of that way has a tractor with a dump loader on it that I can probably have him come and grab some scoops and at least drop it at the hill to make it easier to throw up on the hill. And if not, then his son definitely does because he's got construction equipment that he keeps down at the house. So he's got something we can use. I just got to go out and ask all neighborly like, can you help the old guy out? Yeah. What am That's there. This comes here. It gets pressed in, pressed all the way down so it's nice and flat. Come in, drop that down in there. Use an M5 by 16 to press it down into the hole for that bearing. Make sure it's fully seated and flush. There we go. Grab this one, make sure it's good. It's not cutting. That right there in that slot. Good there, got just the tiniest gap. Back. How's it going, Pezlers? So the I mentioned earlier, there's been some changes going on to the socials and to the Twitch. There are new emotes available. There are new badges available. So if you've been a subscriber of the channel for a while or any length of time, if you scroll through your badges next to your name in chat, you'll be able to select a different badge. And we now have little dragons that grow along with your time supporting the channel. So, yeah. have those available now for everybody. We got the animated emotes. We got badges. We've got sorry about missing your 3 a.m. stream, but yeah, I was sleeping. I had this thing called a life. We love you, but since I'm getting ready to turn 53 and my partying days are over, I wasn't up at like 3 a.m. just getting in from the bar drinking. So I was sleeping. Let's see what else. Um, we do have some merch. People keep asking about merch, so I did the merch thing. So I does a bang merch in chat, you'll see the merch store pop up. And said merch store, which is now fourth wall. Thank you, Dream Elements, for forcing that change on all of us. I had been waiting because we were trying to get the new logos and everything done. So now that I have the new licensed logos and stuff, we were able to get the store going. So there's a few things out there. I need to talk with Daisy because even the basic logo has 8 colors and the embroidery taps out at 6. So I can't like do hats or actual embroidered logos. I'm stuck with the silk screen right now. So I need to talk to Daisy and see if I can't get the basic logo simplified just slightly more with just some color changes. And we'll be able to get some hats on the store as well. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. We do have the coffee mugs in there. There's different sizes and different colors. We got 2 shirts there. I haven't tried the shirts out yet. I've ordered 2 shirts. So please, unless you're willing to be I'll say a beta tester, don't get a shirt just yet. I want to get them in and see if they're decent feeling before I say like, hey, go grab shirts. And I know I could have hit them. In fact, they were, and then for whatever reason, my idiotness, I told you one of these would snap, and I'd have to open up the thing and get another one out. But yeah, I let me try the shirt first. Yeah, merch is always good. So up on fourth wall, you'll see it's Digital Dragon 3D shop. And let's go full screen here. So I have a logo here. It's kind of small. I need to, that's also something I'm going to see because by default, it's just your printed name, kind of like this. And it was kind of very uninspiring. And looking at this and how small it is, so uninspiring. But got some shirts, got black, carbon gray, and charcoal heather. Got our black coffee mugs. Got black bottles. So these are dark mode. Got them on white, standard. We've got the original logo. So couple of things there. More will be added as I have time to dig through and figure it out. Um, there will be more added. Um, um, True. So Nick, the other thing is I'm getting ready to go into about a week of it saying that there's a large chance of rain for the next week. So I'm trying to get as much of the mulch down as I can, and then we will like that. I know that side will probably take a while anyhow, so we'll take our time on doing that side. But right now, that mulch is sitting in my driveway, so I am parking on the street, and I've got teenagers that are new to driving in the neighborhood, and you know, teenagers and roads, right? The roads around me are paved pretty well. And then you get to let's yeah. And then you get to our neighborhood where they chip sealed. Well, chip sealed is basically we take and we put down a layer of not tar, and then we basically just dump gravel on the top of it. Well, the problem is over time all that gravel becomes loose. So I'm waiting for the time when I hear the big bang where the idiot kid or the adult next door neighbor comes around this corner because they've almost slid into the ditch and up into my driveway anyhow. So I'm waiting to hear the big bang where they run into my truck out in the street. And, you'll probably hear me yell as I lose my ever loving mind. Okay, so these are attached. Um, they're built. The next thing it would tell us to do is build the spoolers. I haven't removed the spoolers from the other side. I think what I'm going to do is just get these installed in here for now. I'm also going to I'll also put the feet on, which are easier to put on, like sitting up on an edge. I thought I'd put the fan in there. Darn it. I'm going to take that out and let me do that first. I didn't take the fan out of the other one because I'm like, oh, I've already got the fan over here. And no, I don't. I'll take this back extrusion off so that I can pop this out to mount the fan, because it's going to be a lot easier to mount that fan without it being in there. We'll pop that off. Donor turtle. We'll do the same thing. We'll pop this off so that we can take the other fan out of the old one and put it in the new one. Uh-oh. What we got there? Yeah, we had some more concrete, like we had our back porch extended a little bit, and then we had the oh, whatchamacallit, we had a lot of landscaping done a couple of years ago, and said landscaping included all these mulch areas. So we just needed to remulch a couple of them, or not remulch, but add mulch to them. And then the front flower beds, we didn't have done when we had the rest of the yard done, and it was still pine straw, which is pine needles. So for a couple of years, as the pine trees in the backyard up the property line shed, Mrs. Dragon would go out and try and clean them up and get all the seeds out of them, and then um, she would redistribute those up into the front flower beds. Well, we decided we didn't like the pine straw, which we never really liked the pine straw. So we're going to go ahead and mulch those areas, hence 10 cubic yards of mulch. And then whatever's left over from doing those, we'll strategically put on the other mulch areas. If I need to get more, I will, but are you going to do another 3 a.m. stream, Pezliz? Are you like a glutton for punishment or what? You're going to mention your avatar here. You might want to do a more simplified version. Yeah. Um, I I wanted to use the brand. I'll see if I can get like maybe just the background dragon. Use that instead of the full Monty. It'd probably work out better. Okay, there we go. That back in here. Maybe. I know. There we go. You go there, you go here. Back in place. Transfer a couple of other things from this today, and then we'll probably call it quits here in a little bit. Once we get the extruders installed. It actually does show like getting everything built and then doing the install, doesn't it? I feel like it's not in the. Why is this fan? Did I have these on the wrong side? Nope, those were on the right side. Why is the fan fouling over here? maybe because the screw's not screwed in all the way. That could be part of it. Don't ugga dugga it down and crack the frame, but if you get the screw all the way in, looky there, it actually fits. And yes, I did pop the extra little piece out. That's only really required if you're using an MMB, just out of habit. So no no comments from the peanut gallery on that one. Not going to hurt anything. Okay. Okay, so we got that swapped out. We got the fan in here. I'm going to put this up on its side and I'm going to do the feet. And the reason I put it up on the side is you've got to get the nut in there. Your foot goes through the bottom of your part here. So the little two-sided flanges is facing the foot and is facing out. And you've got to hold this in place as you start screwing this in. Otherwise, you'll knock your screw out or your nut out. You'll just have a hard time getting things screwed in. Kind of like I just did there where, there we go. And no need to really ugga dugga down on these. Once again, you're bolting and squishing together printed parts. If you give it too much, you can and will crack these parts and then you'll be reprinting them. And I know I have done my share of cracked corners from tightening the corners into the frames too tightly, and then you crack them and you wind up having to reprint them. You get floppy corners for a while. Corner. And the last one goes there. Go. Now we got it up on its feet. We'll put it back on its back. Fan side is lane 1. The outer lanes I angled in towards the middle. The middle lanes are straight down. You want your shortest wires. That's going to be your lane 1. And once again, we'll just line the holes up and screw them down in there. These are M2.5 screws, so line them up on the heat set inserts and screw them down. And the your tensioners should be facing towards the front. Front being where the holes are in your lane, because that's where your respoolers go. So normally what I do is I would start with 4 and work my way over, and I would be doing all of my wiring at the same time. And at least, yeah, I should probably be doing that. Should probably be doing. Hey, Grumpy Raven. Yeah, good color choice. Standard black and red. Uh, or on colors, if not shade. But yeah, it looks really nice. It does pop. So I was going to start assembling everything, and then I think I'm going to talk myself out of it because where did that of the wiring and needing to keep the wiring neat because I'm going to need to have the respooler motors and the end stops in here. I'm trying to remember how I did the last one. This one is the it's Mia. Mia. Um bum, 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 bum. Do that. And I'm going to take a look at this one real fast. We got the end stop. Okay, yeah. So I was looking how I wired this one. So this is the actual LDO beta kit. So everything wired right down the front channel here is how I got everything wired. That's what I'm going to do again. So I kind of need to get my spoolers done and in here before I start doing all the wiring. So that'll be the plan. So I need to start tearing down the spoolers next and doing the spoolers. However, I am going to have to call the stream today and or at least at this particular point in time in the day, because I do need to jump over and do that phone call with the one gentleman, and I will tear down the other half of, front half of this so I can get the spoolers out, and we'll start working on getting those ready. Yeah. So, I think that's where we're going to leave this stream. Hey, West One, how's it going? Well, of course we love Mia. We have Mia. right? We've got Mia. I've got the Westery One sticker over here that says it's Mia's stream right next to my KB3D. We've got the Mia mat. I mean, yeah, we know who it is. Came in and heard it's Mia. Yep, yep. There you go. Okay, so what we've been working on, sis, is trying to rebuild a box turtle. So what I'm doing is taking the green and blue box turtle and bringing it up to the latest spec, which means going to the AFC light, yada, yada, yada. And we're building it in red and black for Hedgehog Makes. We're going to be getting this put together and sending it over to Hedgehog Makes so that he can try his hand at it. So, and what we're going to do is I'm going to take the respoolers apart, rebuild them using the new parts. And then once I have that stuff rebuilt, I'll start assembling this. I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to do all that on stream. I may just keep pressing in and around things because like I said, right now I've got to call it and jump on a call with a gentleman and help him get his rat rig software done. And then after that, yeah, go play pack mule for a little bit, moving mulch. Yeah. I guess while we're sitting here chatting for a little bit, has what's their names? Has Lee Marie started yet? Does anybody know? When do they start? Do they start at noon or 1? So these are the front end stops. We'll swap those over to the new printed parts. Exact same, nothing's different on these. It's just we gotta get the color scheme right. I've already unplugged everything from the MOSFET board and got the MMB out of here. Lee Marie is live? Okay. Not that I can cut you guys over to a YouTube channel, but I do know that they're up and running, so that's good. Yeah, this is a rebuild. We're going to rebuild it and get it out to a friendo. And then who knows? Like I said, by getting that green and blue one undone, that in essence frees up a frame. Well, this green and blue one that I'm working on right here, taking parts out of, that in essence frees up this frame to be used as well. And I do have all the parts to rebuild another one into the latest spec, which is like moving away from the MOSFET and MMB. So that is an option. We can do other stuff that way. You do at least one more conversion. Won't be on stream though. I mean, I'm not going to keep doing all these on stream. It was just really, I was going to stream and I needed to get this done so that I can get this done and out of the way, and I can then start working on the rat rig. So all those are disconnected. Undo these screws and I can pull this out. And yes, there is new merch. That is true. A lot going on this morning. Yeah. Is there a lot of streams going on this morning, Liz? I don't even know who all's running today, quite honestly. Yep, there you go. There's the new merch store. What I said, Westery, was I have not gotten any of the shirts yet. I just ordered some. Hey, Royal Nomi, welcome on in. So I just ordered the um, a white coffee mug, a black coffee mug. I think one or both of the water bottles. I think just one of the water bottles and 2 shirts. I'm not sure of the quality of the shirts yet. So um, please hold off on grabbing a shirt unless you want to be a tester for the shirt and let me know how it goes. I'm trying to get those in. I've got them on order. They'll be here, should be here in a couple weeks. And then I've also got some stickers coming. Nope, because you didn't for mine. Yep, that's true. I did not. It's a heavier, yeah, it's a heavier weight shirt. Um, yeah, I believe it was the heavier weight shirt. So I will tell you that as far as the wheels go, I definitely like the new wheel style for the respoolers. So that part I am definitely stoked about in doing this upgrade because there we go. On chassis. All right. So now same. We just take these apart and redo them. And I'm going to have to reprint the whatchamacallit, the front covers, the 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 clear plastic for the front covers because these are boron ones and the new ones, the printed parts are all whatchamacallit, armored turtle. So I am going to have to reprint the diffuser pieces for these. So yeah, I'm just going to work on taking one of these apart and basically like unassemble and reassemble as I go one at a time. But I need to, like I said, I need to get off here. I'm sorry, I just keep rambling. What I tend to do. Um, Royal Nomi, I am doing well. Feeling better. Respiratory rehab is helping, and by respiratory rehab, I mean 10 cubic yards of mulch delivered. So I have to go out and I'm shoveling it into 5-gallon buckets and then moving it and doing it that way because we're mulching the front planters around the front of the house that used to have pine straw and we couldn't stand it anymore. So we ripped all that out and we're putting mulch in. And then whatever's left when we're done mulching the front planters around the front of the house and the big hillside planter that Mrs. Dragon has all her daylilies in, then I'm going to see if I can get one of my neighbors who has a tractor with a front scoop to scoop it up and move it around to the side hills or the hillsides. So yeah, I'm not going to overdo it. But yeah. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Let me see who we can raid out to on Twitch. Might be up and running. Oh, Shenanigans is doing a in real life. I thought he was in the studio, but he's doing an in real life. Yeah, and based on who's here, we may have to run over to Shenanigans if he's confused. Oh, huh, same old Shane. Taking a quick break. So we'll chat a little bit while we're waiting for him to come back from his break. Um, and then we'll jump over to same old Shane. See if I can find some parts in here. Well, I know I can find some parts in here because, well, this is the part bag. Respooler, respooler, turtleneck, respooler. Port. These we won't need. That. Port. Another part of the turtleneck. What I was going to do is like, oh, I'm just going to grab one piece out. Gonna need the PTFE tube cutter thingy because we've already got cut PTFE tubes. All this stuff will be used to do the rebuilds as we take these apart. Snow. Go back in there. Okay. Your neighbor you're staying with is now addicted to the Bamboo Mini. Her first print is a dragon. There you go. Seems to be a prevailing trend for first prints. Everybody seems to like the dragons. Which is weird because back in the day, if you were a dragon person like D&D or whatever, then you were the biggest nerd. And now, like, everybody is on board with the dragons. And I'm going to have to hammer these off. I'm just waiting to see if same old Shane comes back. He seems to be the only one that potentially is live and possibly talking versus just being you know, got printers on stream. Yes, Bamboo is closest to appliance level, though the Creality K1C, the new, was it Elegoo, Centaur, whatever, some of those are coming out and are pretty close to the same thing. I mean, as close as a carbon copy you can get. Some will have, that's another reason why I'm looking for the Cobra S1 is to see how that compares to the Bamboo. Especially, we'll say, with some of the shenanigans going on. which we'll say it is what it is. They're doing everything that they have the right to do, whether we like it or not. Now to get the magnets out of here, I believe I super glued them. And I'm going to basically have to break the part to get the magnet out, or just keep a set of parts in case I need to revert back. Oh, that's good. I wanted to get the zip tie to snap, and I just actually pulled it out of the part to get the zip tie out. That's awesome. Again, when you're cutting these zip ties, try not to cut the wires because that could lead to a bad day. And undo the 50,000 screws. Redo the 50,000 screws. And also need to do a bunch more whatchamacallits, heat set inserts now. Is Zombie here? Inquiring minds want to know. Wants to order all the filament now? There you go. There you go. Hook, line, and sinkered. We'll see. If the pulleys are a pain in the butt to get off, I may just keep the, when I'm talking about pulleys, I mean gears. If these gears are a pain in the butt to get off like this, and the motors here, I may just leave these on, and Zombie will just deal with the gears being a different color. All right, let's think about that on this side. That's not a support, Luke. Don't snap that off. Okay. I think I'm done. I'm going to have to recover a lot of batteries and a lot of magnets and whatchamacallits, magnets and heat set inserts and ECAS fittings. We'll recover those from these parts as well. The heat presses and the ECAS I'll probably work after stream, probably while I'm sitting in meetings, because why not? Fiddle with something and try and cut yourself while you're sitting in a meeting at work. I mean, I guess if you cut yourself while you're sitting in a meeting at work, isn't that workman's comp? I mean, it sounds right. Okay. Anyhow, looks like same old Shane is back up and running, so we're going to go ahead and raid over to him now. Once again, thank you everybody for hanging out. Thank you for being here. Like I said, I did get the digital assets moved over to the streaming computer, so you will start to see a shift in the backgrounds and stuff over to the new stuff. Thank you once again for being here, everybody. I'm going to be taking off, trying to do a couple of other things today, and I will definitely see you all on Tuesday. Feel free to go out and order some merch. Once again, that's digitaldragon3d-shop.fourthwall.com. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your day, and I will see you on the next stream. Bye now. And for those of you that are catching the stream over on YouTube, please feel free to like and subscribe and check out the video that YouTube's going to suggest for you over this way. Thank you all for being here. Great day. And now.